Like I stated once before, I worked at Befort Memorial Hospital, and Sam was the ER doctor. Him and I was outside talking one night when the ER got a phone call. Apparently these 12 men were in a van, and they were all locals. They were all elderly, and it was a foggy night, and they were on Highway 21, head-on collision with a semi-truck. All 9 of them, well, 9 were killed, 3 died on the way to the hospital, and 1 died 24 hours later, but all 12 passed away. Well, anyways, getting back to the phone call, Sam looked at me and he goes, "We're going to have a lot of people here. What can we do?" And I popped up and I said, "Well, I can open up the cafeteria and put out a pot of coffee, as I know it's going to be a while." The accident happened about 1 o'clock. I went downstairs, opened up the cafeteria. The girls that work in the cafeteria prepared a coffee, so all you got to do is hit a switch, and 20 minutes later there's like 50 cups of coffee. Well, I started both coffee pots because I figured there was going to be a whole lot of people there. Well, I got a couple people that I knew that worked in housekeeping, and put them in reflective jackets and told them that when these people started coming in, just point them down to the waterfront. I'll have the cafeteria open. So that's what they did. We ended up with about 25 cars behind the place. Cafeteria was filled with crying mothers, family members, wives, girlfriends, the whole, everything. There must have been about 150 people there eventually, around 4 o'clock in the morning. And I ended up having to start the dishwasher because of all the cups and saucers. I brought out donuts. You know, everything was free too. I didn't charge anything. It was just, hey, compliments to the hospital. Things were still starting to quiet down. About 4:30. The cafeteria girls start filtering in about 4:45, 5 o'clock. And the first one there is the boss. And I told her what happened. She was happy I did it, but a little bit mad at me for giving away the coffee, giving away the donuts, and I even put a couple cakes out there that was in the refrigerator. Whole cakes. I mean, they didn't even cut them yet. And I put out some meat scraps and bread, some Jello. It was like a smorgasbord type thing. Well, I ended up next night when I went in, because I was working the midnight to 8 shift, there was a note for me that I had to see the CEO in the morning. Okay, no problem. So I was talking, believe it or not, a nurse by the name of Dorothy Taylor. She was the head nurse. And I seen Dorothy about 4 o'clock. And I told her that, you know, CEO wanted to see me. And I got an idea for a butt chewing. You know, Mrs. Taylor looked at me and she goes, Gene, don't bother to show up. Let me take care of it. Hey, I can't disobey the CEO. You know, I have to. Okay, if you insist, then just come in late. You know? Okay, fine, I'll be late. You know, I'll be late. Well, I got off at 8 o'clock. I went downstairs, and now Mr. Stanley and I have already talked. Mr. Stanley agreed with me. My actions were pure 100% acceptable to him. As Mr. Stanley put himself in those people's shoes. Talking to Mr. Stanley, he went to school with about 9 of those gentlemen that lost their lives. They were all friends of his. And his wife also knew all 12 of them. And he informed me that he's got a whole bunch of funerals to go to over the next few days. And I even got a visit from Mrs. Stanley. She came into the hospital during the day, and Mr. Stanley called me down to the office, and Mrs. Stanley and I talked, and she said that a lot of the women really took to heart what I did. But that was a couple days afterwards. That happened. But the morning after, I was late going in to see the CEO. The CEO's name was Charlie. I can't remember his last name, but his first name was Charles. And he was very negative against me for doing what I did. He said I should not have opened up the hospital, I should not have opened up the cafeteria, and I definitely shouldn't have put any food out because the hospital lost money. And I told him, when you're grieving, a little bit of hospitality goes a long way. And I just put myself in the shoes of those family members as they came to the hospital, crying about their lost husbands that they've been married 40 years. Mom and dads, you know, that lost their sons. Children who lost their dad. Don't you think a cup of coffee and a donut or a sandwich would make the hospital look like it cared? Chuck. Chuck told me to leave. And as I was leaving, Mrs. Taylor was there with the assistant CEO, Sandy. I got called into Sandy's office. Sandy told me not to worry about the butt chewing. That Chuck was money hungry, and he doesn't look at human beings as human beings. He looks at human beings as money. But Sandy said what I did was very thoughtful and above board. And she's going to call the company and see if they can do something to help me. Well, I received $100 in a paycheck from the hospital. I received nothing from the security security people over on Hilton Head. I didn't even get an attaboy. I just got a hey, fuck you. But anyways, that's what happened that one night. And like I said, there must have been about 150 people. They came in. There was fresh coffee, sandwiches, jello, cake, brand new cake. And the mess wasn't that bad. I put out garbage cans with bags. Housekeeping, the guys that directed traffic after things kind of settled down, they came into the cafeteria and they cleaned up without being told to. I mean, they just did it automatically. And it was that one black guy that I told you about in the previous video that knew Rainbow, my daughter. And oh, we talked about her all the time. And like I told him, you know, someday she's going to write me a letter because I'm tired of writing to her. I don't even know if she gets the letters I write. But anyways, that's what happened that one night. And I didn't go to any of the funerals. I didn't know any of the men. But a couple of days later, Sam and I was again just outside talking. It was a slow night. And we were talking about it. And Sam told me that 10 of the guys had donated their organs. And they couldn't retrieve their organs there. They sent them up to Charleston in order to retrieve their organs, and then brought the remains back to the funeral directors. So anyways, I thought that was a pretty wild night in Befort. We had more cars in the back than we had in the front. But I just thought I'd throw this out. You know, had a little bit of fun opening up that cafeteria. Anyway, have a good Saturday and a good weekend. And I'm looking at about 13 minutes. So anyways, not much is going on here. It's quiet. I gave it to Paradise last night. I'll probably go and get it in the morning. I got $25. I'll probably give that away too. So anyway, I'm looking at about another 5 more seconds before this thing shuts off. So like I said, have a beautiful weekend and God bless.